That's what my book, Love at First Click, is all about. You know, I was given the rules and the law of the land of what to watch out for, how to meet people, how to set your profile up, how to not get scammed, you know, all that stuff. My book is over 500 pages. That's right. Over 500 pages. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the stuff that I talk about, I never heard nobody talk about. And you got to realize I've been doing this for 20 years. I've been meeting people online. I got my first account online it was 2003. 2003. And I remembered because I got my first computer, the same year. I got my computer the same year. I started taking classes the same year. And I went on Plenty of Fish the same year. That's how I remember. You know what I'm saying? I remember that shit like yesterday, man. You know? I remember I went on Plenty of Fish, and then it was Black Planet. Mm-hmm. Plenty of Fish and Black Planet was the shit back in the day. That's it. There wasn't a lot of places to meet people online back in the day. And then MySpace was big back in the day. You know, now MySpace was for social, meeting people, and music and business. MySpace back in the day was like I guess today MySpace would be, if I had to compare it to a site today, I would say it would be like Facebook today. If I had to do a comparison, you know, because Facebook, if you look at Facebook, there's a little bit of everything on there. You know, it's not just for one thing. And that's how MySpace was. Yeah. People would be on MySpace for different reasons. It wasn't just for meeting people. Could be for business, could be professional, could be personal life, could be anything at the time. You know, I remember the first person I met, I think she lived like 40 minutes away from where I was staying at the time. She lived 40 minutes away from me. And I actually drove halfway. I drove halfway to see her at the time. Which was okay, where I lived at was in South Carolina at the time. So I think I might have drove from where I was at to, I think it was King Street, South Carolina at the time. I drove up there to see her, and she lived in I think she lived in Colombia at the time. And I was nervous the first time I met somebody. And it was a good meetup though. It was a good meetup. And first time we met up, you know, tell you what we met at. We met at Hardee's. We met at Hardee's, downtown King Street at the time. We met at Hardee's. And it wasn't too many places to meet up in King Street at the time. That was easy to find. Anyway, so we met at Hardee's, and we probably stayed there for like 2 hours, and she had to go because she had a babysitter. She had a baby too. That's another thing. She had a baby too, and we known each other for like, we still know each other still to this day. I don't talk to her like that. She actually on Facebook. She's on Facebook. Yeah. I see her on Facebook every once in a while. She ended up getting married. What happened is I ended up moving to North Carolina probably like a year. And not even probably like a year later. And she had this guy, and she was talking to this guy that was in the military, and he was, I think, overseas where this. She told me this like later. The guy was overseas, and said at some point she was gonna have to move. So I was like, oh, okay, I get that. You know what I'm saying? So we were smashing until I moved to North Carolina, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't. Now check this out. I didn't smash. We didn't smash the first time. No, I didn't. No, we smashed the second time, because the second time, now there's another thing I didn't know about her. She was staying with her mom at the time, and well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. She didn't tell me that until I was on the way driving, and I didn't like that shit. I was like, oh shit. So I said, well, when your mom come? And she didn't tell me that until she didn't tell me that she was staying with her mom until I was on the way. And then when I got there, she said that her mom was at work. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, well, when she come back, get home? He's like, oh, usually like 6 o'clock, but sometimes she will show up early. I was like, oh shit. So you mean? So I said, hey, if she show up early, what the hell? How the hell I'm gonna get up out of here? So I'm paranoid. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh God, what I got myself into. And this was nighttime too. That's another thing. This was nighttime. And I always would go to her house at nighttime for the most part. It's been a couple of times I went there during the day, but for the most part, I would go there at night. I'm talking late at night. I'm talking about midnight, like 1, 2 in the morning, some shit like that. What would happen most of the time, I would go to the club, and this is the time where I used to go out a lot. I used to go out a lot at the time. So I would go to a club like in Myrtle Beach, Florence, areas like that. And when the club was over, I would leave and go to her house. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And her mom was there. Her mom was asleep. And and her, come to find out, this is after the fact. She told her mom about me. I don't know why, She told her mom about me, and for whatever reason, her mom didn't have a problem with me. And another thing that happened too, I told her who my mom was and my dad was. And her mom knew my mom. I'm like, holy shit, this is a small world, man. Her mom knew my mom. I didn't know this shit. I was like, holy shit, it's a small world, man. So once her mom knew my mom, once she found that out, she didn't care if I came over there. She didn't care what time of the night I came over. Daytime, nighttime, it didn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? This shit was crazy, man. She didn't care. Her mom didn't care. You know, as a matter of fact, I went there like late and probably like 2 or 3 in the morning. And you know, when I would call her and say, hey, I'm on the way. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna stay up. I have to stay up until you get here. Because my mom was asleep. But this one particular time, she fell, and her mom actually opened the door for me. Holy shit. I was so embarrassed at the time. You know what I'm saying? I like the shit that I've been getting myself into. Now, at this time, this is 3, 4 in the morning at the time. I was so embarrassed. You know, this lady got out of her bed to wake me up because her daughter fell asleep. So when she came in, she was like, oh, she right there laying down. I'm like, hey, girl. She said, oh, my God, I fell asleep. You know what I'm saying? She said, well, my mom must have let you in. I said, yeah. Yes, yeah. So I just sat down. I was so embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? But boy, I tell you what, we had some good times, man. We had some good times. But I ended up moving, like I said, I ended up moving to North Carolina. And she was the first person I met. And when I moved to North Carolina, she ended up getting with her dude that was in the military. And they got married, and they still married still to this day. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that was man, that was some wild times, man. but that shit was fun though. That shit was fun. And this thing is supposed to be fun. It shouldn't feel like work. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't feel like work. People make it feel like people make shit complicated. You know, like everything's supposed to be difficult and you're supposed to be struggling, you know. No, this is supposed to be fun. You know, it's not supposed to feel like work. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, everybody got, I think a lot of people trying to make things too complicated. You know, it's supposed to be fun, man. Everything when it comes to being online, man. Damn near every situation I've been in. I had one. I didn't really call it a bad situation. She was just in a bad mood because she got a phone call or whatever, and I just left. You know what I'm saying? But I never had a bad meetup from online. I never really had a bad situation like that. Somebody asked me the other day, have you ever met a bad one? You ever met up with somebody ever catfish you? You met up with some bitch that weighed 300 pounds? No. 400 pounds, some shit like that? No. I ain't never happened to me before. No. Yeah, I never really had a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put the link in here, man. Anyone want to come up, we can chop it up. Otherwise, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I never had a bad situation. No one. Well, you know, the thing is, I know when something ain't right. I know when somebody ain't keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? So no one could trick me like that. You know? No, I don't think anyone's that good, in my opinion. You know? Yeah. So I don't think that could ever happen to me. I'm just not. I'm too aware of what might happen. I filter, I vet very well. So if someone ain't who they claim to be, I would know probably the first day chatting with them. Because I'll be like, hey, I'll usually say something that kind of throw them off. And they'll be like, they'll stop talking. They'll stop sending messages. You know what I'm saying? That's how I do. You got to get rid of the fakes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but that's usually how I go, man. The game is cold out here. But yeah, those were some good times back then, man. Had some good times. I had some good times, man.